cooking with Advocate Aurora, and dreams never expire. What's going on, people? It's your boy Chad Roper here with my sister, Adija Smith from Affectionately Yours. And we're here to give you guys an Advocate Aurora Community Connection Thanksgiving special edition meal. So what we're doing is we're breaking down a home-cooked Thanksgiving meal that's dietary pleasing to your body, all right? Let's get to it. How you feeling today, sis?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
I appreciate you. What we got on the menu? Talk to me.
So listen, we're going to start with a baked chicken. We're going to do a red roasted garlic mashed potato. We're going to do an old-fashioned southern smothered cabbage, but a more health conscious way.
Absolutely.
A smothered corn and candied carrots.
Candied carrots.
Yes.
I ain't never heard of that. That's something new. You just put me on game.
Absolutely. You know, some of us are used to having like sweet potatoes for the Thanksgiving holiday, but we can have a great alternative and still a great taste. So we're going to go with the carrots this time.
That's the key. That's what I like to hear, man. We could have did the greens and the hog maws. we want to change this thing on up.
Absolutely.
Make sure our body, can adjust to this thing. So
absolutely.
I appreciate it. So what we going to start with, sis?
Let's start by getting our potatoes in the pot so we can get those cooking, and then we're going to move on to preparing the chicken.
Let's get to it.
Let's grab a couple of these red potatoes, and we're going to keep the skin on because there's a lot of nutrients in the skin of the potato. So we're going to keep them on there. So let's just kind of cube them up.
Okay.
I want you to make sure you're controlling that knife. Hold that blade like this.
Okay.
Never hold it like this. You want to hold that blade like that so you can control what the blade is doing, okay?
So cubing it. Okay.
Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and blend them down anyway after they cook. So it's no perfect way that you need to cut them. We just need them small.
Small, okay, got you. So now what got you started in this? Talk to the people, man, about what got you started into this cooking thing.
You know, I've been around a family of cooks for many years, and it was one of those things that I noticed my grandmother and my mother being so happy when they were in the kitchen preparing meals for the family. Mm-hmm. And as a young girl, I took the opportunity to learn everything that I could. And, after many years of being around them, I decided, you know what, this is something I'm good at. And I wanted to share that love for cooking with people that I love.
That's what I love to hear, man.
Oh, yeah.
So you started your company when?
So our company started back in 2010. We were originally known as Greer's Gourmet Goodies. Go ahead and throw those in there for me.
All right.
And after a couple years of being in business as home-based catering and baking, we decided to do some rebranding, and that's when we developed Affectionately Yours, which turned into a bakery in the community. But as a personal cook, I've had an opportunity just to kind of be a personal chef for different family and friends during, when they just wanted something good to eat.
I'm a living witness.
Yes, you are.
So what we getting to next? Let's talk to me.
So now we're going to go ahead and season our chicken. And so what we've done is we've pre-brined this chicken. And what that means is we let it soak in a warm water with some kosher salt. That helps to really kind of get down into the meat and make sure it's nice and juicy after it's hit that oven, okay? So we brined that already, and we're gonna add some light seasoning to it. Nobody wants anything bland, so we gotta add some love to it.
Gotta show some love.
Absolutely. But we don't have to over salt these things.
Absolutely.
So we can do things like garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, Cajun seasons, things that don't have a lot of salt in them because we want to be mindful of the sodium that we're putting in our body. So we're going to add some garlic, parsley, black pepper, and just a blend of different herbs that are salt-free, okay? You can use Mrs. Dash if you like. There are some really great seasonings out there. But even with the brining process, that's going to help to add some seasoning to the chicken as well. So we're going to lightly season that up, and then Chad, I want you to go ahead and throw that on the pan so we can get in the oven.
I'm getting the chicken ready to go in the oven. I am not a chef, but I play one on TV.
All right, so let's go ahead and just spray a little bit of that olive oil on there because we want to make sure that that skin, absolutely, make sure that that skin give us some nice crispness once it's in the baking process. So we're going to go ahead and place that chicken in the oven. We're going to have that temperature set at about 375 degrees, and we're going to let it do its thing. It's going to take a minute for this to bake, and we'll check on it a little later. But in the meantime, let's get to these veggies.
Let's get to these veggies.
All right.
Do it.
So our potatoes are cooking. we're gonna start with our cabbage. So this is an old southern style cabbage that we're gonna make it more healthier, okay? You know, when I was growing up, smothered cabbage consisted of, you know, your cabbage, your bacon, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We have some different alternatives that we're gonna do with the cabbage today. So we're gonna use a Cajun chicken sausage. We're gonna use butter substitute, lightly butter substitute, and a little bit of olive oil, and our bell pepper. So let's go ahead and grab that cabbage, and I'm gonna cut it in half, and I'm gonna let you cut half of it, okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Make sure you have what? Control of the knife. That's what she said earlier.
Control that knife. We don't need any accidents, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and just take that cabbage and start cutting it down just like so, okay?
You notice I got my hands like this because I don't want to cut my fingers off. These $1 million fingers.
Please don't cut those fingers off. All right. You're doing good, Chad. Doing good.
I did my thing back in high school.
I know where I'm going for Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, she gonna be starving. You know? Talking about being hungry. Boy, you ain't never been hungry like when you wait for me to eat cookies.
You something else. You ain't
so now, with our cabbage, now that we get our cabbage started, talk to us about the idea of preparing a meal for a family where instead of it being on the sluggish, I'm ready to go to sleep after I eat side, to what we're doing today where it gives you energy, because food is really supposed to give you energy, not supposed to put you to sleep. So talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things about food, and I always learned as a little girl, that food can heal you and food can kill you. So it's always about how you prepare those things. You know, when you are over processing food and you're eating processed foods, those are some of those foods that are going to really kind of take a lot out of you. It's going to take a lot of your energy. It's going to take a lot of your focus. And so that's why we find ourselves putting on excess pounds, or just not having the type of drive that we normally would from our food intake because of how it's processed. So you want to make sure that you're having your green vegetables, how you're preparing them, using raw sugar instead of white sugar, using olive oils instead of, you know, different vegetable oils and things of that nature. And just really kind of finding substitutions for what you like, but you can still make sure that it tastes good. You really got to be creative with your cooking. And so I think that's one of the key things is creativity.
That's a fact.
You know, again, I can remember eating a lot of these things as a young girl and it being very pleasing to my palate, but I didn't know that my grandmother was using lard and, you know, all of these different things. I always used to say, what is that can on the stove? But, you know, there's different ways that we can prepare that greatness and it still not be as harmful to our bodies.
That's a fact. And one thing I also want the viewers to understand is that right now, y'all saw us earlier put boiling potatoes in the boiling water. But my grandfather used to tell me this thing all the time. The same boiling water can do two things. It could boil a potato where it's soft and smushy, and it can also harden an egg. What that means is you have the opportunity of doing good for yourself or doing bad for yourself. You got to make the decision. So that's why we're here right now, to help you kind of put that in your thoughts.
Conscious choices.
Subconscious choices. Yep,
absolutely.
All right, let's get to it.
So we're going to go ahead and let's grab our bell pepper, because we're going to use some of that too, and we're going to fire this up here.
Now, what does bell pepper do for this, for the smothered cabbage?
This is what's going to help to season that cabbage without having to add all of those extra non-healthy things. So this is going to help to add some flavor to the cabbage. So we put a little bit of olive oil in there. Throw about half of that cabbage in there. And then we're also going to use this butter substitute with this. And you can hear that sear. That's what you want it to do. One thing about cabbage, that it produces a lot of moisture already. And so what you're going to start seeing is that is going to start developing some water in there. But we're going to put just a little bit of this butter stuff. And this is I can't believe it's not butter. So probably a lot healthier for you than, not probably, it is. It's a lot healthier for you. And it still has a really good taste to it. And we're still going to add some salt-free seasoning. We're going to turn this down just a little bit, and then we're going to put the lid on there, okay? All right. So we're just going to go ahead and let that do its thing. And we're gonna add some seasoning to that.
You hear the crackle in the pot, man. I love it.
Add a little bit of that. And we're gonna add a little bit of that garlic parsley powder. You can use so many of these same seasonings for A lot. They're very versatile, so you can do a lot with them.
Okay.
So let's go ahead. We're gonna turn that low.
Let it simmer.
And let it simmer.
Okay.
And it's gonna do its thing. All right, go ahead and throw that lid on there. And while that's simmering, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start prepping our next thing. So let's go ahead and grab that fresh corn.
Gotcha.
This was something that I used to do when I was, young too. We would go and we would sit at my grandmother's feet. We was breaking beans and shucking corn, things like that. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that out. There is nothing better than fresh corn, okay?
And so, and jiving with the corn.
And again, that's about, it would be easier for you to grab canned corn off the shelf, but having fresh produce is so much better. It's a much better quality than, opening things out of a can. I was always taught that you should do all of your grocery shopping on the exterior of the grocery store versus in the aisles. That's where you're gonna find the quality. That's a gem. Did y'all catch that? On the exterior. On the inside, you got your boxes and your cans. Absolutely. And on the outside, as always, the production and the dairy and things of that. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Chad, so now that we've shucked our corn, I'm gonna start cutting the corn off the cob. I want you to take those potatoes out the pot, okay? Absolutely, I got you. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna take this knife and I'm gonna start cutting that corn down just like so, okay? Man, this right here is a task for somebody who don't know what they're doing. You're doing great. When y'all at home, y'all go buy you one of, I guess it's a strainer. Is that what this is called? Yeah, you definitely want to strain. I know what I'm talking about. This is some nice fresh corn. I can tell by all of the milk that's just kind of spraying out of there. Nice moisture. Because you can get bad corn. Absolutely. It can be very dry. What do you look for when you purchase them? You want to look for, usually you want to kind of open up the top of it, make sure it hasn't been, eaten by a lot of the insects, during that process. You want to make sure it has a nice yellow look to it, unless you're getting a bicolor corn, because you can buy corn that has that yellow and white look to the kernels. But you will probably be able to tell if the corn was no good based on how it looked. This corn looks very fresh, and I can just tell by, again, that milk there that's coming out that is good. That's good corn. If you notice, ladies and gentlemen, I ain't trying to do that. I need all my fingers. You hear me? We gonna work on those knife skills. And there are easier ways to do this. So, there are a lot of different utensils out there that can help you to do this with ease. I just use what I'm used to. Yeah, you're a vet. So we are almost there. And then we're gonna go ahead and get this going too. So, and as you can see, most of what we're cooking today, it's not very time consuming. It doesn't take a long time to do this. If you're preparing your Thanksgiving meal and you just want to do something with ease, this is a really simple menu and really flavorful. So we're gonna go ahead and get that there. One thing it should not do is put you to sleep after you eat. That's the key. Now it depends on how much you eat, because it will put you. That's true. That's true. Right. Now, and that's why you're supposed to not overindulge. Listen to your body. Absolutely, moderation is important. That's why I say, you eat to live, don't live to eat. Absolutely. Okay. So what we're gonna do, because we want this corn to have a creamy texture to it, we're gonna add a little bit of all-purpose flour. Okay, that's about 2 tablespoons. Okay. Okay. We're gonna add some black pepper. Black pepper. Go ahead and I'll let you do the honors. Just for coloring? Good, good, good. Okay. Alrighty. We're gonna add our diced red bell peppers. Let's throw those in there. That's gonna help, again, add more flavor. Absolutely. These are ways that you can substitute all of those other things that you're putting in there, okay? Absolutely. And then we're gonna add a little bit of raw sugar. And this is gonna just kind of give a little sweetness to the corn. Sugar in the raw. Sugar in the raw, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and get that ready for cooking. All right, Chad. So now we need to get these potatoes mashed. It's smelling good in here, right? Our chicken is baking. Our cabbage is smelling flavorful. It's very fragrant in here. While our potatoes are hot, let's go ahead and blend them down. So
let's do it.
You can't have mashed potatoes without adding something to it. So instead of butter, we're gonna stick with that alternative. We're gonna add a little bit of milk in there, and we're gonna use a hand mixer, and we're gonna just blend it down, and then we're gonna add some garlic powder so we can make those garlic mashed potatoes.
More.
Just a little bit more. That should be good. Go ahead and add some milk.
Milk. What kind of milk can we use? Does that matter?
Just enough right there. You know, I'd say go with your preference. Depends on how really rich you want it to be. You know, you can use a low-fat milk. You can, if you need to have non-dairy, that definitely works too. You can use half and half. You just need that moisture because you want those potatoes to be creamy, okay? So go ahead and mix that up with your hand mixer. Make sure you hold your bowl because it will take off on you. So turn it down just a tad bit. There you go. All right, so now it's time to get that corn on. So we're gonna spray a little olive oil in the skillet there because this is so that the food doesn't stick, okay? We're gonna go ahead and put that corn in. Give it a couple turns. And again, these are all items that really can cook themselves. You don't have to do a whole lot of turning. You just wanna make sure that it's not sticking. So medium, high heat initially, let it start cooking, and then you're gonna turn it down and just let it simmer, okay? So we're gonna let that do its thing while we get our Cajun sausage.
Uncovered or covered?
We can leave it uncovered for now while it's really kind of cooking a little bit, letting that heat hit the corn. And then once we notice that starts to really get to moving, we'll cover it up and we'll turn the heat down some, okay? In the meantime, let's get to the sausage for our cabbage, okay? So we're gonna use this chicken sausage in replacement of like bacon. It's a lot healthier for us, and it'll still help add that great flavor to the cabbage. So again, let's make sure it doesn't stick to the skillet, spray a little olive oil. And all we're really doing right now is just really searing this, just to sear the sausage, get a little crisp on it, and we're gonna throw it right in the cabbage. So I know you got this, Chad.
Oh, absolutely.
You can hear it starting to sear it already. You know, just go ahead and let it do its thing. And while that's doing that, you can hear how the corn is starting to like really get a sizzle to it.
Absolutely.
This is the time where I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down, and I'm gonna just let it simmer. And what we'll see is it'll start to develop a creaminess to it, and that was because we added that flour, okay? So we're gonna turn this down, and we're gonna cover it.
Just let it work.
Just let it do its magic. So it's smelling good up in here. I don't know about you, Chad, but I'm hungry.
And I'm sure they can smell it through the camera.
Right. You know, Chad, you're good at this sausage flipping thing.
I get my flip on every now and then.
Listen, that's pretty good.
Flip with the wrist. You know, remember that song?
I flip with the wrist. That's it. You're good at it. You go ahead and turn that off. We've seared it just enough. We're gonna go ahead and add that to our cabbage. Look at that cabbage. It
looks amazing.
Wow. So that's perfect.
So now that we got the sausage in there,
the sausage is in. We're gonna go ahead and just kind of give it a nice little mix up right there. And we're gonna just let that cabbage rest. It's pretty much done. We're just gonna let it just sit there, okay? And keep adding all the flavor. Now, you know, traditionally on the Thanksgiving table, you see the big pan of sweet potatoes. I mean, not just any kind of sweet potatoes. I mean yams. I mean full of sugar. Some people put marshmallows all through them. Some people put, they do the sweet potato casserole because you just kind of want that sweet taste on your Thanksgiving plate. Well, the alternative to that is we're gonna take carrots instead, and we're gonna give them a nice glaze, but not overdo it with a lot of sugar and butter. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add some oil. And again, we're gonna just make sure that this does not, our food doesn't stick, okay? We're using really nice nonstick pans, so that helps as well. And let's go ahead and just throw those carrots in there. You hear it. So in addition to our carrots, we still want it to have a sweetness to it. So they're not candied carrots without some sweetness, but instead of us using just pure white sugar, granulated sugar, we're gonna do a raw sugar, or you can use honey. So let's put our raw sugar in. And just sprinkle that all over there.
That's about what, a teaspoon?
Maybe about a tablespoon, but you know, in order for us to candy these, and this is a much safer sugar in the raw, so it's okay for us to use it, you know, sparingly, but we still want to taste it because we want it to have a glaze to it.
Okay.
And then we also want to add some cinnamon and some vanilla extract. So go ahead and sprinkle you some cinnamon on there. Perfect. And now there is more than one way to do this. You can always do these in the oven. This is just, you know, a much quicker way to prepare them. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and we're gonna let that cook. They smell so good already, right? They kind of smell like yams.
Yeah.
And when you taste them, they have a very similar taste. You know, that candy taste helps you to feel like you're still getting sweet potatoes.
And what does the vanilla do?
You know, vanilla is like that secret sauce to everything.
Okay.
You know, when it comes to baking and things of that nature, vanilla is what kind of pulls all those flavors together, okay? So we're gonna put a little,
kind of like the glue.
man, it's like the secret sauce to most things. If you don't have a good vanilla, and you know, it's just like when you bake a cake, you know, you can have all these great ingredients,
right,
but that vanilla is what kind of just brings everything together.
Okay.
You can taste when you got some good vanilla extract in your things.
Okay.
So we're gonna put just about a teaspoon of vanilla in there.
She's so good, she didn't even use a teaspoon, she just dropped it in there. A perfect teaspoon. That's how you know you've been doing this for a while.
And we're gonna let those go ahead and cook. Now listen, when you do the carrots this way, they really don't take a very long time.
Okay.
You know, as hard as carrots are, you would think it would take a lot longer, but oh, they smell so good.
It's good.
So we're gonna go ahead. These will probably take maybe about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
Cooked this way, absolutely. If you did them in the oven, maybe slightly longer, but you gotta remember, it's right on that direct heat, so it's softening them up a lot faster. And really, this is also a preference thing. Some people like their carrots
More
crunchy.
firm. Yeah, exactly.
Some people like them to be more soft. So it's really based on your preference.
So, Confectionately Yours, what did you come up with that name for?
Wow, you know what? I felt like when you end anything, a letter, when you send a letter to some people, you say, you know, respectfully yours.
Yep.
You say sincerely yours.
Yeah.
Well, confectionately yours just kind of seals the deal for me, you know, and it comes from a place that's my love language.
Gotcha.
That's baking, that's cooking. And so confectionately yours kind of just seals my introduction of my love language to my people.
That's what I like to hear, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. And I really appreciate you taking time to put this together. I know it was a lot. I know it was last minute. But that's why you call your family.
That's right.
'Cause ain't nothing like family. You
That's
call your
right.
family and say, come on, I need your help.
You
And
better
boom.
know it.
And this is an amazing, amazing meal. I'm sure everybody out there, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this thing. Again, Aurora, Advocate Aurora, Community Connection, Dreams Never Expire, and Confectionately Yours. We're doing it big.
That's right. All right, Chad, let's get that chicken out the oven, get it plated, because I don't know about you, but I'm ready to eat.
Man, I am hungry. You hear me? It's smelling too good in here. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So we got everything done, Adija. The food looking amazing. I'm ready to dig in. Thank you so much for this.
You are more than welcome. It was my absolute pleasure to just really kind of share with people alternative ways to great food that is good for you and good to you.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a pretty good example, and I'm hungry.
Me too. And she said good to you and good for you.
Right.
So let's
eat. All right.
do it. Oh yeah. This is it. You know it's good when it's quiet. All you hear is chewing.
Right.
Thank y'all, man. We appreciate your time. Thank you, my sister.
Absolutely.
Advocate Aurora. Dreams never expire. See you next time. Happy Thanksgiving.